Welcome back to episode 30 of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. After a 2-week break, we will be discussing the Ironman National, where we saw good battles in both the 250 and 450 classes that included a new winner and a first-time podium rider in the 450s. But first, let's talk 250s. In the 250 class, your winner on the weekend, how many times have I said it this year? Hayden Deegan, just proving again that he is the best guy, going 1-1 on the afternoon. Moto 1, he slowly fought his way up to Joe Shimoda, who at one point had a huge lead and passed him with about 3 minutes left. It showed a lot of grit from Deegan, who obviously could have settled at the time. And, he has a huge points lead at this time. He really had nothing to gain by passing Joe late outside of Pride, and he showed that, obviously being named to the 2025 MXON team that will take place at Ironman later this year. He said on the podium after the afternoon that he had a lot of pride in that, being picked on this team, and wanted to show that he was the fastest guy on the day, and he certainly did that, especially in Moto 1 coming from behind. Moto 2, he got the whole shot and ran away, something we've seen from him a few times now. He's not a whole shot artist, but when he does get the whole shot, he does tend to run away, obviously being the fastest guy. Again, good ride there for Deegan. Second place was Joe Shimoda, going 2-2 on the afternoon. Whole shot in Moto 1, had a huge lead. I think he was up to like 8 or 9 seconds at one point. Hayden did eventually catch him late, but Joe rode strong for second place. Moto 2, he started around third place. His starts have been so much better lately, and this has kind of led to the run that he's had lately in these last 4 races where he's looked really, really, really good. He's the only guy at this point who can even sort of run with Deegan. Deegan did win this moto by about 8 seconds. But again, Joe is, proving that he is the next one that has that speed, at least in this class. Third place on the afternoon, Tom Vial, going 3-3. In Moto 1, he looked fast. He moved forward pretty quick. Moto 2, he had a really good start in second place. Joe did get him pretty quickly, and then Tom rode kind of all by himself in third place. This is more of what we've expected from Tom Vial in the year, to see him on the podium, getting good starts just around that area. Obviously, he had a couple rough weeks there, and the break did him good, rounding back into form with this 3-3. Fourth place on the afternoon, who else but Garrett Marchbanks, going 4-6 on the day, moving forward through both motos as always. In Moto 2, he did get caught late by teammates Levi Kitchen and Drew Adams, so he was obviously laboring there a bit. He did have quite a big lead over Drew Adams with 2 laps to go, and Drew ended up getting him for 5th place, so I can only imagine that Garrett was laboring there, but another good ride and solid riding forward for him. 5th place on the day, Drew Adams, as I just spoke about, going 8-5. This is his best overall finish. The 5th place in Moto 2 was his best moto finish. Definitely the best ride of his career. He made a lot of passes late. He kind of hung out around 8-9 and just kind of stalked these guys down. Like I said, if Garrett Marchbanks was laboring there, Drew Adams was obviously doing the opposite, making up a lot of time there late. 6th place on the afternoon, Mikkel Harrop, about where he's been all year, going 5-9 on the afternoon. I'd really love to see him get another moto podium before the end of the year. We saw it a couple weeks ago, but he has been riding well, has been a staple in that 4 through 6 range. Moto 1 just looked fast. Moto 2, he looked fast again, but he just started going backwards pretty quickly. When guys started to catch him, he did get caught by the likes of almost the entire PC team there with Marchbanks, Adam, and Levi Kitchen. 7th place on the day, Max Volan. What I think was Max Volan's probably best ride of the year overall. He looked strong in both motos, was battling in that range. I think he's been around this same range, 7 to 11 all year. We really haven't seen him break through into the top 5 yet, unfortunately, though I do think he could, under the right conditions, but still riding well. 7-8, a solid ride there for Max Volan. 8th on the afternoon, Levi Kitchen, going 14-4. Another week of a bad moto and then a good moto. I don't know what to say about Levi's bad motos. I've always been a harsh proponent of Levi's start dependency. He's a terrible passer. I've said this many a times. He did actually make passes late in Moto 2, so I guess when he is on, he's feeling it, but man, when he's not on, he really struggles to get by guys. He's obviously so much better than 14th in this class. He should be able to ride with his eyes closed and be a top 8 guy. So really unfortunate there that these struggles continue for Levi Kitchen. Ninth on the afternoon, another solid bounce back ride. Austin Faulkner, 11:10. Those results don't pop off the page, but obviously we saw the struggles early in the year, and we did see the 5.5 the last time we were out. 10th place on the afternoon, Seth Hammaker, 9:12. Kind of just a whatever day for Hammaker. I think he was the fast qualifier or second fast qualifier. Him and Marchbanks were 1-2 on the afternoon. So to go 9:12 really sucks. But he just didn't have the starts, which is a bit unusual for Hammaker, and just wasn't able to move forward as quickly as he would have liked to. 11th place, Nate Thrasher. Not sure where this comes from. A 13-11. Sometimes he's in that top 15. Sometimes he's 30th. I don't know what to say about Nate Thrasher other than good ride. 12th place, Jordan Smith, another 6:19. He's kind of riding like Kitchen for the last couple weeks, but Jordan has had this issue all year with one strong moto, one pretty bad moto. So he has not had a really good overall finish quite yet. 6:19 again, riding well in that first moto. We've seen him finish in the top 6, in the top 5 this year, and have a couple very strong rides, but a bit of a head scratcher there for the 19th in Moto 2. 13th place on the afternoon, Parker Ross going 19.7. Ross got into 10th early in Moto 2 and fought his way up to 7th. Not sure what happened there in Moto 1. Didn't see much of him. But Parker Ross is really making a name for himself and looks really good aboard that RX Yamaha. 14th, Juju Bomer going 15-13 on the day. I don't know what's going on with Juju. We've had struggle, terrible finishes, injury things where he's out for a few weeks. I don't know. He came back this week. He was second off the start in Moto 1 and dropped back to 15th. I would assume he crashed. I would hope he crashed. I just don't know what to say about Juju at this point. Hope to see better from him in SMX. 15th place, Ryder D. Francisco. Kind of a weird ride after the last few weeks from Ryder D. Ryder D has been riding much better than we have seen early in the year. I would say this is probably a normal Ryder D finish, just struggling on the day. But he has kind of come around recently, so I'm not sure what to make of this 17-15. 16th, overall, Jalik Swoll going 10:39 on the day. Jalik pulling another hole shot there in Moto 1. He's riding super well. Not sure. He faded back to 10th. And then, of course, had an issue in Moto 2 where he did have to DNF. We do hear today that he is going to be out for the remainder of the Motocross and SMX season with a couple of injuries that are lingering here. So really sucks that Swoll is not going to finish off the season with us, but a very strong few weekends that he did have with us, including 3 or 4 hole shots, leading some laps, and finishing on the podium. So really strong showing from Swoll, again, in those few weeks that he was available. Unfortunately, hurt again. 17th, Dylan Schwartz. Kind of a bad day for Schwartz there. Had really been looking good the last few weeks. 16-18 on the afternoon. 18th, Michael Mosman, 12:40. We saw him go down in the first or second turn in Moto 2 and kind of get run over or hit his head on the handlebars. It was kind of an awkward fall. In Moto 1, I just think he got a bad start and kind of rode around. Really unfortunate for Mosman. We did see him get on the podium as well this year, and just has gone backwards from there, unfortunately. 19th, Avery Long, 40-14. Not sure what happened in Moto 1. Maybe a bike issue if he DNF'd so quickly and finished so well in Moto 2. This AEO Power Sports team is riding so well between the likes of Avery Long, Lux Turner, CJ Bernard, guys that are just scoring points every week and names that we're not really used to hearing. So really good ride again for all of these guys. 20th, Cade Johnson, 34-16 on the afternoon. I've never heard of this kid. I think he's from Texas. Good ride for 16th in Moto 2. 21st, Lux Turner, I touched on, 24-17 on the day. 22nd, Matthias Bostrom, not sure how to pronounce that. 18-27, kid from France that came over. Good to score points there. 23rd, Kyle Weiss, 22-20 on the afternoon. I think this is their second or third time this year scoring points. Solid riding there for him. 24th, Gage Linville is back, going 20-38 on the afternoon. 25th, CJ Bernard, 23-21, about where he's been in that, point scoring, just outside of point scoring range in motos that he has finished this year. So good for him to jump up back into 21st in Moto 2. And 26, we had a Cullen Park sighting, 21-23. Not sure where that came from. I have not kept up with Cullen Park on socials. We saw how good he was in the Supercross season, but just have not seen him around much in the outdoors. 0-point scores on the afternoon. Really unfortunate that the two star guys that came back, neither of them scored points. Daxton Bennick, who started up front early in Moto 1, 29-24. And Pierce Brown, 36 DNS. Pierce Brown went down a number of times in Moto 1 and just looked out of sorts, honestly, and did not start Moto 2 as a precaution. At this point, late in the season, only 2 races remaining. The points race at this point is Deegan, 418 points, and Joe Shimoda is now 51 points behind. If Deegan gains points or ties with Shimoda this next weekend, he can wrap up a week early on the title. Moving over to the 450 class, and man, what a day it was. Hunter Lawrence getting his first win of his career. Well earned, going 2-2 on the afternoon. Obviously, a guy who has been up there before, had plenty of 2-2s, some 2-1s, some 1-3s. Just the math has never worked out for him. Honestly, with Jet's finishing position crossing the line, he would have lost another overall, but obviously Jet had the penalty. So Hunter Lawrence going 2-2, getting some good juju there. In Moto 1, he had a good start and tracked down Eli with about 20 minutes left, and he led for a really long time in that moto. Chase Sexton did get by him with about 3 laps to go. That was unfortunate there for Hunter to have to take second in Moto 1. Moto 2, again, he made a lot of good passes early to get into the lead yet again. He got passed by Jet, made a mistake, and actually went back to 4th briefly. And then we saw mistakes from Sexton and Eli. Hunter was able to make those passes yet again to go 2-2 on the afternoon. Really solid riding and really proud. Way to get his first ever overall win there in the 450 motocross class. Second place on the day, RJ Hampshire, a really quiet 3-4 on the day. RJ looked really good. He's been incredibly strong lately. He's been pushing forward into that top 5, obviously. Now getting into the podium position with the help of some math here and going 3-4 for second on the day. Just, again, really good riding by RJ, proving that he can be one of these guys week in and week out and not just a spur-of-the-moment guy. Again, we've seen him the last couple weeks kind of sneak into that top 5, and here he is with a podium. Third place on the day, Eli Tomac going 6-3. Hole-shotted both motos, something we haven't seen from Eli in quite a while. He went backwards in Moto 1, kind of one by one. We know he was sick on the afternoon. We found out after the fact. In Moto 2, he got passed by Hunter twice in the moto, but he did look better than Moto 1 overall, obviously dropping back only to 3rd, not to 6th. So a good ride there for Eli to hold on to the podium. Fourth place, Justin Cooper, 4-5 on the day. Kind of saw Justin Cooper in the background, but he definitely didn't have the speed of the other guys, but a 4-5 was a solid finish there. We saw him actually get past Jorge Prado on the last lap in Moto 2 to actually take 4th overall away from Prado. Speaking of Prado going 5-6 on the afternoon, a much better day from Jorge Prado. It should have been a 5-5 again, if not for Justin Cooper on the last lap. So really solid riding there from Jorge Prado. Really excited to see where these next 2 weekends go if he can hang on strong. Sixth place on the afternoon, really unfortunate. Jet Lawrence, 17-1. Again, in Moto 1, he obviously hit the gate early and fought his way back from about 23rd. He had a really good battle with Chase Sexton. Chase did hold him off, and Jet crossed the finish line 3rd. Obviously was penalized an entire lap. We could go on and on about the penalty, but it is what it is. Dropped back to 17th after the penalty, so that's 17-1 on the afternoon for him. Moto 2, he rode just mad. He got in the lead in about 3 minutes, and there was no looking back from there. I was expecting Jet to go out and win by like a minute. He didn't have maybe that much intensity, but once he got into the lead, he settled in, but he got into the lead quick and much quicker than we've seen before from him. 7th place, Dylan Ferrandis going 7-8 on the day, his first outdoor of the season. So really good to see Ferrandis just kind of slot back in. Ferrandis could probably be a top 5 in this guy in this class had he been racing all year, but obviously to just jump in and go 7-8 on the afternoon, really good. 8th place, Malcolm Stewart, 9-7 on the day. Solid riding again there from Malcolm Stewart. Really, honestly, looking at these guys, 7, 8, 9, Ferrandis, Stewart, and Barsha, you could kind of slot these guys in anywhere and in the top 7 through 9, and it really shows with their results this weekend, all 3 of them. finishing in that range for both motos. So ninth place there, Justin Barcia going 8.9 on the day. 10th place was Chase Sexton. Chase Sexton went 140 on the day. In Moto 1, he patiently moved forward after a slight tip over, held off a really good push again from Jet, and kind of broke Jet there late in that Moto. Jet obviously has bigger things to worry about with the championship, but he held off Jet, and Jet just he settled. And Chase used that momentum to move forward and go get Hunter Lawrence with about 3 to go in a time where it looked like Hunter Lawrence had a big enough lead for Chase to just accept second. But with that push and with that momentum, he went forward and chased after Hunter. Moto 2, he had another tip over, and he was fighting forward, briefly past Hunter for, I believe, third place at the time. That would have given Chase the overall, or tied him for the overall at least. Well, yes, the overall, because Jet had the penalty. So would have given him the overall. That would have been 2 in a row. And we saw the nasty crash and then the ensuing bike issues from there. I'm glad to see he's not more hurt. Did say that his shoulder is weak after the crash, so he is going to take these next 2 races off and come back in SMX. But he is very lucky that it was not more severe. It was a pretty nasty crash, and we've seen Chase take these before, of course, obviously, but just not something you want to see. So 140 on the day there for Chase Sexton. Really unfortunate, again, for what could have been. 11th place on the day, Cody Schock going 11:10. Another solid showing from Cody Schock, showing that he can be consistently in this top 10 and ride with these guys. It helps that he's a really good starter. 12th place, Valentin Guillaume, 14:11 on the day. Kind of silent. He did ride his way from the back. We've seen him finish, as far up as 6th place in motos this year. So 14:11, maybe not his best day, but it's still a solid ride. 13th, Harry Kulas, 12:13. 14th, Mitchell Harrison, 10:15 on the day, bouncing back from the last couple weekends, but showing that he can back up what he did over at Washougal. 15th, Lorenzo Locurcio going 16:12, solid riding there for Lorenzo, especially Moto 2. 16th place, Henry Miller, 15:16. He's been in this range all year. 17th, Marshall Welton, 18:14 on the day, scoring some points. 18th, Benoit Paturel, 13:19 on the day. Not a great ride from Benoit Paturel. We've seen him closer to Valentin Guillaume, who, of course, finished 12th. Again, we've seen him and Guillaume kind of be 1 or 2 positions away from each other more often than not this year, so rough riding there for Paturel. 19th place, Shane McElrath, 20:17 on the day. Honestly, didn't see him a single time. Didn't even know until I looked at the results that he was back racing this weekend. So really a silent ride there, but definitely did gain some points for the SMX Championship, which we know is why he came back. 20th place, Romain Pap, 38:18 on the day. 21st, Kyle Webster coming over from Australia. Jumping on, they announced the Australia MXON team as well as the US MXON team. So that'll be the Lawrences and Kyle Webster. The US team, of course, will be Deegan, Sexton, and Tomek at this point. So Kyle Webster going 19 DNS on the day, just kind of overheated after Moto 1. Did not race in Moto 2. 22nd, Matty Jorgensen, 22:20 on the day. And 23rd, Scotty Verhage, 21:21. These last 2 guys here, Matty and Scotty, have been floating around point scoring all year. So really good to see them continue to score points week in and week out. As far as the points championship on the year goes, Jet now has 412 points. Hunter Lawrence is 47 points back. Jet will need to gain at least 3 points on him next week to clinch the championship a week early. Obviously, a big break in that points with the penalty that Jet incurred. It would have been at about 61 points, which have been plenty enough for him to clinch after next week. But regardless, Eli Tomac is now 88 points back in third. Jay Coop is 97 points back. Everybody else is 100 plus, as we've seen for a while there. We are headed to Unadilla next week. We've got some new guys bouncing in. We've got some guys bouncing out. Swole's hurt. He's out. Cole Davies is going to be back. Ken Roxon said he's coming back, so it'll be interesting to see how some of these guys fit into the mold here at Unadilla for these last 2 races, and then we go to SMX, and then, of course, MXON. That is all we've got this week. If you want to follow us on Twitter, X, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube at Not Another Moto Pod. Thanks for listening.